All right, guys. So this is our second session tonight. We got Coach Greg Jones, who is the head football coach at Liberty North High School in Missouri. Coach he's been a head coach for 23 years, won over 200 games during that time, 10 conference championships, and 2 state championships. So he's going to talk to us tonight about a 12-month program for running a championship program. So take it away, Coach.
Well, first of all, thank you all for having me on here. I appreciate it. Also, thank you for all the podcasts y'all do. Greatly enjoyed those. I was telling Chad and them I drove home to Louisiana over break and went by myself because none of my kids wanted to go to Waterproof Louisiana. So I put the podcast on and was very entertained. So appreciate all of that for sure. I'm going to screen. Let's see if I share this right here. Can y'all see? Does that show?
Yeah, we can see it, Coach.
All right, perfect. All right, there's my information. So at any point in time, when this is over, because I don't know, I'm going to try to get through as much of this as I can do. I usually do this for the Glacier clinics, and it sometimes takes 2 sessions instead of 1. But if there's anything you want to know, contact me, and I'll do the best to help you out, or get in touch with Chris or Michael or Chad, any of them, and I'm sure they can contact me too. But there's my information. Just going to kind of walk you through. What I'm going to do is kind of walk you through our program starting day 1 of each month. Let's see if I can get this thing to change. Well, it's going to show, but it ain't going to work. Let me go back for a second, see if it. Did something to the PowerPoint here for a second. Technical difficulties. Let me see. Well, any idea why this thing isn't working? Let's go that way. There we go. All right. So can y'all still see that?
No, you're not sharing anymore. We can see you.
All right. Let's see. Why is this thing doing this? Well, I done lost my view of all of y'all now. There we go. Let's go back to screen share. Let's do this. All right, you got it now?
Yes, sir. Now we can see it.
All right, so briefly, like you were saying, been at Liberty North 4 years, was at Kearney, a school about 10 miles up the road from here for 11 years. Won 120 something games and went to state 3 times and had a lot of success up there. So had opportunity to come to 6A is the biggest school, there is in the state of Missouri. So we're a 6A school. So been here 4 years. And again, the thing I want to get at is that with this thing is the first year wasn't very good. As you can see, we were 4 and 6. The second year on the field, the record wasn't any better, but our locker room was a lot better. Like we were winning in the locker room where it counts with the kids. And then the next group of kids that were sophomores when we got there, you can see they went 11-1. We were 11-0 heading into the district championship game and lost it. But then this year we won the district championship game and ended up losing in the state semifinal. So again, just sticking to the process and working day in and day out to do those things. Again, the things you can see, we've broke 65 school records. When we got here, there was about 80 kids in the program. For our size school, that's not very good. Now we have over 125 kids. Right now we got 150 kids going through our off season. So a lot of buy-in, but again, it's a day in, day out, working in progress and doing those things with kids and stuff. I'm gonna figure out what's going on with this thing real quick here, Coach. This is beginning to irritate me. This why the screensaver, this share is not working. We got new computers, so we had to trade all of our old ones in and get new ones. This thing was working just a minute. There it is. All right, so it's going to work like that. Our thing is the other big thing is, I think people talk about having a philosophy or a mission statement. We have what's called the N, which stands for North, the end of life. And we talk to our kids over and over and over and over about these things. They hear these words, which we think are life skill words. And that's what we sell to our parents. And we breed these to the kids, and we do breakdowns. They hear these words. And so these words are ingrained into our program. But we start and we talk about attitude and effort being on the bottom. As that's the only two things we ask kids to bring: positive attitude and a great work ethic. And, you know, we have lessons over every one of these words, because after a while, everybody gets tired of hearing the head coach talk. So what I do is assign one of these words, and we have the assistant coaches do like a lesson over them. So they do a really good job of that. But we talk about commitment being the backbone, and your character and discipline being the arms and the legs. And then, you know, trust and faith is in your head and your heart. But that's our mission statement with those words, and we ingrain them into our kids so that they understand, you know, what it's all about. But tonight, what I'm going to get into, and if there's anybody that has a question, this obviously isn't X's and O's. This is just what you do to make your program special, and how you get 150 kids out for football. Because let's be honest, there's no air conditioner at the football field. It's not gyms. You know, I'm not going to go in there and shoot a basket, and as soon as it goes in, there's instant gratification. Football is tough. It's a different breed of kids that play the sport. So you got to get kids out, and you know, what does it take to do that? So we talk all the time about our culture. You know, we had a kid move in this year. This kid, in my opinion, we don't get a lot of true D1 looking kids. Most of our kids are D2 NAIA kids, but this kid's a good looking kid. And he's really struggling with the accountability piece of coming every day. And I'm just like, the reason we win is because of how hard we work and how our kids love each other and how hard they play for each other. You got to buy into that, or you're really going to struggle here. So it's just getting those kids to buy into that. The other thing, you know, listening, no matter what clinics you go to, people talk about schemes. All right. Like earlier this week, you got, you know, Coach DeMayo, who does a great job with the wishbone, the flex bone option. You got people talking about the buck sweep and all that. And then defense, you got 4-man fronts, you got 3-man fronts. There is no magic scheme, because if it was, every one of us would steal it, and we'd all run the same thing day in and day out against each other. So my thing is, schemes don't win games. The kids running those schemes are what wins games. And I'm a firm believer in that. But, you know, I grew up, my dad's a farmer down in Louisiana. I believe that creating a culture is just like farming. You got to get up every single day, and you got to do something in your football program with your kids that is getting them to buy in, and they got to see that you buy in. Our kids, when they come to school, they see you know, 90% of the time, the first truck there is my truck, and the last truck to leave is my truck. And the kids see that, and they start, you know, well, coach is working hard, so we're going to work hard. So that's what we're going to get into and kind of go through. So it's a month-to-month deal. We're going to fly through each one. And, you know, Coach, depending on how you want to do it, if somebody's got a question, we can stop and answer it now, or we can go through the whole thing and answer them at the end. I'm good either way. So
it's up to you, Coach. If one pops up, I'll let you know. Okay.
Perfect. All right. So December, the month we just got out of, is kind of where I start, because it's the end of football for everybody. And some of these things I'm going to go through fast, or we'll never get through it. But obviously at the end of football, everybody shifts gears, and it's a different weight training program. We have 4 weight training programs that we go through. We have the end season, and then we have our winter month, then we have our spring month, and then we have our Olympic styles. And then the 5th one, which kind of is really different than all the rest of them, is our summer program. but we're going to test out the week before we send our kids home from Christmas break, because I want to know where they're at. And again, we tell our kids, we need to be the strongest heading into the playoffs. And I know that's a lot different than some people, but it doesn't matter that you can hang clean 300 pounds in August. We ain't playing for the state championship in August. We're going to play for it at the end of November. I need you cleaning 300 pounds at the beginning of November. That's when I need you the strongest. So we talk to our kids about that. We're all dealing with that college recruiting, doing all this stuff that head coaches have to do. And this is a great thing for anybody aspiring to be a head coach, because this is kind of like grandma's recipe to bake those biscuits. She's going to give you everything to do it. You just got to get it done. Because being the head coach is a lot different than being the assistant coach. I think we all know this. One of the biggest things that we do in the month of December is this right here, is these senior leaving comments. We just had 36 seniors on last year's football team. All right. So we're all smart enough to know that all 36 seniors are not going to play. But what are you doing in your program that makes kids know they're not going to get to play on Friday night, but they still want to be a part of your program? So what we do in this the leaving questionnaire is, I tell them, you can put your name on it or you cannot put your name on it. But this is your chance to give us feedback, to let us know what we're doing well and what we may need to visit about. We may need to tweak a little bit to make some changes, because if one thing's popping up a lot that this is on several kids' things, then we need to look at this a little bit. But it gives them just freedom of knowing that, hey, coach is really going to listen to me. He's going to let me have some feedback and listen to my comments. So, and it's a deal like, do you feel like we gave you a chance? Do you feel like you were appreciated? And I mean, again, I can share all this if people contact me, but your position coach, how does your position coach treat you? Were you given, did he give you a fair chance and all those? So again, as a head coach, it lets you know what players think about your position coaches too. So it's a really good thing for them, I think. It's been great for me. Again, that's head coaching stuff. The other thing we do every Christmas is kind of our community service project. We have Children's Mercy Hospital here, and Children's Mercy does a really good job with this. Like, we take these we have a huge toy drive. The last couple of years, the back end of my truck and the back part of the extended cab part of my truck has all been loaded with toys. I'm talking tons of toys that we take down there. And what they do, they put these toys in a store, and the parents whose kids are in the hospital, instead of you just donating toys and the kid not knowing what they're getting, the parents get to actually come down and shop for their kids and see these toys. So we got a great thing going with them. Our parents really, really get into it. Our kids get into it. And it's just an outreach program. We did not get to do it this year. In the years past, I've taken the seniors, captains down with me. So they got to see all of that. And it's kind of enlightening to them to see, kids in the hospital and the parents, the stress on the parents' faces and things. But because of COVID this year, we didn't get to do that way. But again, we still did the toy drive. So that's another huge thing we do before Christmas. All right. Any questions in December? Nope. All right. Moving into January, the month we're in right now. All right. So again, I don't know about y'all, but we get 2 full weeks out for Christmas. Again, which is great for me because I got to go spend a week with my mom and dad in Louisiana and do some deer hunting and stuff. But we got to kind of get the kids reacclimated to the off-season program again because they've been gone for 2 weeks. We have our banquet in January because, again, we've been very blessed to play late in November. We make this banquet, our football banquet, is a big deal. You can ask my wife and several of our assistant coaches. They'd probably tell you that I probably go overboard with this thing. But to me, it's another thing that we do that makes kids feel special. So we've got a ton of stuff we give to our seniors. We give a lot of gifts. We give awards out. But then, the other thing we do, we spend about we don't spend a lot of time, maybe 15, 20 minutes on it, but to all the underclassmen, we talk about the off-season expectations, because you have all those parents there right there, and you have all those players there right there. So it's a great time to talk about what your off-season is going to look like and what the expectations of the off-season is. So we do a lot of that at the banquet. All right. I don't know about Georgia, but we don't have athletic periods here in the state of Missouri. So I may have, 5 football players in first hour. We do have athletic weight training where you have to be an athlete to be in it. So, but they're sprinkled throughout the day. They're not ever all together. What we do in January, February, March, we do what's called Blue Dawn training. We bring them in at 6 a.m. on Wednesday mornings. And it's just every coach has a station, and I have film on it. If I can share it with you on Huddle, but it's the rope. We have the ropes, we have sleds, we have all kinds of stuff going on. And we usually do it in the gym. This year, because of COVID and kind of not wanting to put that many kids, 150 kids in the gym, we've moved outside into the stadium. And we've called it kind of Winter Wonderland because we got snow coming down, and it's, it gets a little chilly, but again, it has allowed us to do different stations, which the kids kind of like too. But it's the only time during the week I have all my kids at one time. So it's a good thing for us. It's a great training. It lets the coaches see all the kids. So it's a great team building thing for us. And like I said, I don't know if you saw us tweeted out there, we had 152 kids there last Wednesday morning. So we did not do it today because we didn't have school Monday. So it's a 4-day week. We're only doing it on the days we have virtual school now because we don't want 150 kids trying to shower, eat breakfast, and go to school. So we got to do it on certain days. College recruiting going on again, recruiting our hallways. I mean, again, we tell our kids every year is a new year. 2021 is a new year. So I don't care if you came out in 2020. And again, for me, this is a deal that I've learned as I've gotten older. A lot of times when you're younger, I think we have like ego problems. And it's like my way or the highway. But the older I've gotten, I've realized that every year is a new year and it's time to hit the reset button. So we'll have kids that did not play last year that come back out this year. Now, is it good for them? No, we explain to them, you've missed a year of football, you're way behind. So the odds of you probably getting to play, unless you're really special, it's not very good. But it's a brand new year and you got the same chance as everybody else does, as long as you're doing all the things in the off season that everybody else is doing. So our kids appreciate that. Every year, but this year we've always went to the AFCA convention. Obviously, we're doing everything that everybody else is doing with the film breakdown and all that. I'm going to talk about our fundraiser that we do later in the summer, but I'll write a big thank you for that to everybody. We have our youth coaches meetings going on, getting everything straight for them. Coaches evaluations. Those of you that are head coaches will know what I'm talking about with this. To me, this is where you grow. This is when we're able to come in and sit down and one-on-one with your coaches, and you tell them the things they do well, and you tell them the things that they need to improve on. Okay. And you give them goals for next year and where they need to be next year. And you talk about all that, because what you got to realize is when you're the head coach, if the assistant coach is not doing his job and not doing well, it's affecting your whole program. So you got to have the tough conversations. And we talk about this even with our kids in our leadership council that I'm going to talk about is you have to be able to have the tough conversations if you want to improve. So we tell the same thing with the coaches. Now, we're not there yet at this school, but when I was in Kearney, like I'd said before, I lost hardly any coaches. So I'd had the same coaches long enough over that 11-year span. I let them evaluate me one year about what am I doing and what do I need to do better? Because as a head coach, I want to improve too. I'm not perfect by no means. I want to be a better coach myself. So I let them evaluate me. Now, like I said, we're not there yet. We may get there with this staff, But right now, we're working to get better. So we're doing that. Grade checks. We'll check our grades. The nice thing of having our kids all in class, I have access to their grades. So when they show up on Wednesdays and their grades are bad, they're going to be doing up downs for them. So again, that's big for us. And then the thing we kind of started that I stole from Coach Randy Jackson down there at I forget what school he's at in Texas, but we do the off-season T-shirts. So we ordered them last Wednesday. We got everybody's sizes. Next Wednesday, when we do Blue Dawn, everybody will be getting their T-shirts. So our kids are excited about that. And, you know, it's just a blank portrait, and you got a year to paint that portrait. What are you going to do with it? Because it's like a running total. Like every time we test out in the weight room, they write their new maxes on the back of their shirts. Every time we time flying 10s, they write them on the back of their shirts. So it's a walking thing where our kids, everybody in there, they see that. And all these kids are in platoons. So everybody in their platoon sees, oh, you clean 200 or you clean 250. So it's a good thing for our kids, and they really like that. So every day they got to have those shirts on when they come to Blue Dawn. In the summer, it's a different day they got to wear them, but there's a mandatory day that they have to have these shirts on. All right, January. Any questions on January? That'll lose y'all?
No, we still got you, Coach.
Okay. All right. My computer's kind of buzzing a little bit. I don't know if I'm going to like this. I don't know if I'm going to like this new computer. All right. Going through February. Well, maybe. There it is. All right. Off season, we already talked about it. We have a big signing day just like everybody does. The Blue Dawn's going on still. Now in February, we start our leadership council. And I think this is huge. What I do is I pick 13 seniors, I pick 13 juniors, and 13 sophomores. Okay. And I meet with them once a week. And we follow almost like, just like you would have a curriculum in class, we follow that curriculum. And we go through, like I have Colin Powell's thing when he was the Secretary of Defense, when he was talking about leadership. And we go through that PowerPoint he did. And like the very first PowerPoint on Colin Powell's deal, it says, you as a leader, you must be willing to upset people. That is the hardest thing for high school kids to do. They don't want to offend their buddies. So you have to make them understand that because what does every high school kid want to say? I'm going to lead by example, coach. That's the easy way to lead. You know what I'm saying? Leading by example is the easy way to lead because all you have to do is what? Do what you're supposed to do. It takes a true leader to see someone else that's not doing something right, and he's my buddy, and I've got to walk over there and tell him that. Okay? But we've started, this leadership council has been phenomenal for us because what it does is it's an extension, because you're not in the locker room. You're not out with them on Friday and Saturday nights. So you've got to be in some kids' heads that they can control their teammates. And that's what that's all about is, like I tell them, y'all are basically assistant coaches that are players on the field. And fellas, last year when we went into COVID lockdown, this right here is what saved us because every one of these kids, the seniors that are on the leadership council, they're also platoon leaders. So those kids were checking with everybody on their platoon daily to make sure they got their workouts. And then every single night they were texting me to let me know who worked out and who didn't work out in their platoon. So phenomenal job by that senior leadership group last year. Like I told them at the banquet, they had the hardest job to do and they knocked it out of the park. Phenomenal. But that, you know, it's just a great building thing for us with those kids to put them in that leadership role. See why this thing works sometimes and not. Maybe I'm hitting the wrong button. Jeez. There we go. All right. So then we do the grade checks. We have a powerlifting season. I don't know if y'all have powerlifting or not, but we have February and March is kind of our powerlifting season. We have our big home meet. Last year we had over 300 and something lifters there. We start quarterback training. The quarterbacks start coming in, and I realize every state's different or what you can and cannot do, but we have a 17-week program that we do with our quarterbacks because you cannot wait till, like we tell our quarterbacks all the time, by the time we go to 7-on-7 and all that stuff starts, it's like going to play golf. Can't be out there on the golf course and I'm talking to you about what's wrong with your swing. Now I need to talk to you about the game of golf, about how to play golf. So it's the same thing with these quarterback training. All that stuff's got to be fixed before you go into bringing the rest of the teams in. Your quarterback club, you heard it over and over and over again. Keep your enemies as close to you as you can. So parents, give them something to do. I hear a lot of coaches talk about, well, the parents are causing problems or whatever. We tell our parents right now, you're an assistant coach. Your kid plays for us. We're helping you raise our kid, your kid. You're helping us coach your kid. So our quarterback club is phenomenal. They do a tremendous job for us. I meet with them all the time. And then it branches off. And if anybody wants any of that, I can share that kind of stuff too. But we keep our parents extremely involved, and they are awesome. Now, are you going to get an occasional email from a parent that's upset about playing time? Yes. You're not going to make all 150 parents happy. But at the same time, the more you got behind you that understands how you're treating kids and doing things, then the better it's going to go. Our staff's going to go to clinics, and then again, Pop Warner meetings going on. All right, March, getting the month of March, we got out of season weights going, the Blue Dawn's going, leadership's going, grade checks are going. Got to order your football equipment. That's going on. If you have a grass field and you don't have turf, I strongly suggest that you are very, very close with your maintenance crew. I have seen they can destroy a game field, and they also can destroy your practice field. So you need to be you need to have great communication with them. When I took this new job, some of the assistant coaches that were here when I got here, they're like, no way you're getting the key to control the water at this school. I'm like, well, I've got to be able to do that because I know when we're practicing and when we're not. 2 weeks later, I had the key to all of it. It's just a matter of being able to sit down and these guys trusting you and building a great relationship. So you got to have a good relationship with the maintenance crew. We tell our kids, you need to be out for a spring sport. High school is the only time that kids can play multiple sports. If they're a good enough athlete to go to college, then they're going to have to choose. So we encourage our kids to go out for other things, especially our skilled kids. Because we tell our kids all the time, if you want to run that football in the fall, you're going to run the ring in the spring. So I've learned a long, long, long time ago, both as an athlete and a coach, you either have speed or you're chasing it. And it ain't very fun chasing it because it runs away from you pretty quick. Quarterback club meetings are going on. Pop Warner meetings are going on. We always go somewhere and watch spring football. Now, probably not going to happen this year just because of COVID still, but I think it allows your coaches to see new drills, pick up new things, and you get to see them install stuff. So that's also great. The big state powerlifting meets in April. Then we move, March. Then we move to April. The national meet. So then when we come back from the national meet, this is when we switch into our Olympic style weightlifting. Continue to check on the fields. The kids that don't go out for track, then we start doing agility, sprinting, and all that kind of stuff with them afterwards. And then it hasn't taken very long. Our kids have understood that I'm going out for track because track practice is not as hard as what the football coaches make us run. So, we've had a lot of success in getting kids out for track. Plus, when kids go out for other sports, it lets them get acclimated to different coaching styles also. So I think that's good. But we do grade checks. Leadership council still is going on. Those of you that are head coaches, you know what I'm talking about here. If you don't get your staff attire ordered early. All the big schools take it, and there's nothing left for the high school staffs because all the college guys got it. So you got to get your stuff ordered. Motto of the year. So every year we have a motto. Like this year it was Hoka Hey, talking about sacrificing for your teammates and all that. What we do is the Leadership Council picks our motto of the year. And the way they got to do that, though, they have to present. Again, with this Leadership Council, is just great. But if I come up with an idea that I want to be the motto of the year, I have to put a PowerPoint presentation together. I've got to get in the front of all these guys, and I have to present to them my idea on why we should have this motto. And then after they've heard everybody, then they vote. If there's some years that I have a strong suggestion that of one that I would really like, I put a presentation together. But again, it goes in and it has to be voted on by the Leadership Council. Quarterback club meeting, Pop Warner meetings are going on still. All right, then we go to May. So now we're getting into spring. We're going to do our last year-end test out, which is great for us because we give T-shirts. So when they test out, so in the weight room, we test on hang cleans, bench press and squat. And then outside the weight room, we do the shuttle drill and we do standing broad jump. So we test in 5 areas. If you get 5 out of 5, because we have standards for them, if you get 5 out of 5, you get a black T-shirt. 4 out of 5 is a gold T-shirt. And then 3 out of 5 is a white T-shirt. So our kids know the athletes that are walking around in our hallways with a 5 out of 5 shirt on, those are the dudes. Because they're athletes and they've hit it. So our kids really like it. We got a dealership here in town that pays for them all, so it's awesome. I forgot what it was. I forgot how many kids we had clean over 250 and how many we had clean over 300 before we went into COVID lockdown. But our numbers in the weight room have gotten really, really good here. We're going to have our spring parents meeting. We bring them in. We go over the summer calendar. We bring in the middle school. We bring 2 shifts. Bring all the middle schoolers in first, and then we bring the high schoolers in second. We go through the whole thing, the expectations. So there is no, well, we didn't know. So we're very open. There's a lot of communication with the parents. We talk about that inner life with them. We go over those words. A lot of our kids will sign late because, like I said, they're Division II kids. They're NAIA kids. So they won't sign next Wednesday. So we have a reception for them and we introduce them to everybody. Because last year we had, of all the seniors we had 9 that signed. I'm sorry, we had 12 last year that signed to go play college football. So we had them come up. We said their name, told everybody where they were going. So all the underclassmen that are coming and all those middle school kids got to see those kids and where they were going. So they like it. It's a good thing for them at our thing. We start having meetings to get our our agendas, our insertion charts and everything put together for camps, the summer camps. We're going to order our camp shorts and shirts with the mottos on the back, the coaches, get them ready to go. Again, check on the fields, girdles for the kids. Still got agility training going on. Now, senior evaluations. Here's another one that's really good. We have what's called the Eagles Tough Questions based off those words: attitude, effort, character, discipline. All those words have questions that go under them. And I meet with the kids and we go through this. I used to bring the parents in and meet with the kids and the parents. But when you have 36 seniors out, now you're getting into looking at hours and hours and hours of having them in there. And it just got to where it was taking too long. So now I just meet with the kids and it may be, hey, Chase, you know what? You're a great kid. We love having you in the program. We want you here. Every piece of the puzzle is important and you're going to have a piece of the puzzle, but the odds are you probably are not going to start on Friday night. Are you going to be okay with this? Yes, coach, I just want a shot. Okay, perfect. Because the last thing we want the kids to do is to come and spend the whole month of June, the whole month of July and August up there. And then we get in, they see they're not getting to play. So then they're unhappy. And so then they become energy vampires. And once you get to that, then it gets worse and worse. And then, worst case scenario, you got to let them go. So to me, it's better to handle all that up front than to do it at the end. So that's been great because you're up front and honest with them. Leadership council still going on, grade checks. And then our quarterbacks and receivers start having open fields and throwing the football around. And then again, the quarterback club meetings going on. All right, we get to the summer. Again, weight program, mini camp. We have shifts going, but the first two starting the Tuesday after Labor Day, or is that Memorial Day? I forget which one is which. Memorial Day, I think it is. We will bring them in and we start camp. So we have high school camp and we have the lower level camps. So we have them all up on our campus. So we'll have between all those kids, there'll be about 250 kids up at some point in time during the day running through camp. Then when we're done, we'll have 2 weeks of camp, and then our varsity will go to a team camp at a college. We get to take them away, get them away from girlfriend, get them away from mom and dad, get them around us. Just a great team building deal. It's been awesome for us. Love it. All right. Our big thing, we do the We Fund Me, which is our letter campaign. This is one of our huge fundraisers. Last year, we raised right at $40,000 off this deal. But Adrenaline fundraiser, I don't know if it's down in Georgia, but they do it. The We Fund Me. Again, if anybody's needing any information on that, get with me on that and I'll share. 7-on-7 leagues, we play on that the whole month of June and July. We have a lineman camp. Order camp t-shirts. I've learned throughout my 23 years of being a head coach, I do not order camp t-shirts and shorts until the kids show up for those 2 weeks of camp in June. Okay. And the reason why, in the month of May at that parents meeting, you have a ton of kids that say they're coming out, and then you go and you order all this stuff and they don't show up. So I'll wait. We order them in June and then they get them in the July camp. We have a deal with Adidas. We're an Adidas school. So we order the team cleats, get those all in to help them out with prices. Quarterback club meetings are going on. The platoon drafts, we used to, we would have a off-season platoon and an in-season platoon. Anymore, we just stick with the same platoon. So they've already drafted them for this year. Our program project, our leadership council decides what we're going to do with this. Sometimes it's go to the park and spread mulch around all the, in the city, around the gymnasium things that the kids play on, the jungle gyms and stuff. They'll bring mulch in and we'll spread it for them or whatever. It may be going to clean a flower bed or something somewhere, but it's an outreach program where we can give something back, all right, for the community that does things for us. But we want to see the community see us out doing things. Leadership council meetings are still going on. Float trip. This is the one thing that is on every senior questionnaire that I talk about in December. This is the one thing that every one of them says, never change the senior float trip. Fellas, what we do is we take all the seniors and their dads and the coaches, and we load up and we go right from us. It's about little over a 3-hour drive in a vehicle, but we take them down. We'll go down on this year. We're going Wednesday night. We'll get there. We'll set up camp. We'll cook out. All that stuff Wednesday night, have a great meal and everything. They'll go to sleep. We'll wake up the next morning. We'll have a big breakfast and then we float. And some kids float with their dads. Some kids float with kids. Some dads and dads goes. The only rule with the kids is that you can bring your dad, you can bring a guardian, you can bring your uncle. If you don't have anybody to bring, we still want you to go and you can float with a coach. I mean, I'm telling you, before, that's some of the best things I've done is float with one of the kids, and they don't bring your dad or whatever. You get to know a lot about a kid on a 3.5, 4-hour float trip. So it's been awesome. Again, I'm willing to share information on that, but every single kid talks about, Coach, never, ever, ever change the float trip. Because the other thing that's great about this, everything else we do, we're in competition mode. So our kids see us wanting to compete, and we're having to coach them. At this thing, you get to let your guard down and just be you and have fun with the kids. So they love it. You get to wrestle in the river and all that good stuff. All right, July, summer weights. We do our summer test out. So we just call it Iron Eagle test out. It's our summer test out. Leadership council's going. We have a clinic for our youth coaches. So we bring them up and we do it like a breakout session, just like you would go to a clinic. We got a quarterback room, a running back, a receiver. We go offense first. We'll meet for about an hour, go on the field if they want. Then we'll feed them lunch, and then we'll shift to defense and do the same thing. But that way, you know, they should know something about your program, and they're working with your youth kids, so they need to know some of the drills that you're doing. We will have a youth football camp, grades 1 through 7. We didn't get to do it last summer, but the summer before that, I want to say we had over 250 kids at the thing. So it's huge. It's a great fundraiser for us too. We have another football camp the last week. Of that, we do a big thing and have a parents meeting right towards the end of it. Staff meetings with stuff, meeting with the training staff. Got to meet with the training staff so you and the trainers are one-on-one. Johnny has a sprained ankle and he cannot practice. What are we going to do with him? Because he's not just going to sit over there by the managers and flirt and play on his phone. I want him to have a workout. So all those meetings with them. Go over the August schedule, get it. Again, adrenaline fundraiser. We sell the little cards, I'm sure, like y'all do. We have been the top team in Kansas City. I want to say it's the last 6 years we have dominated in the whole Kansas City metro area of selling those cards. Pre-COVID, we raised, the last time we did it was $56,000 we raised off those cards. So another great thing. Quarterback club meeting, poster shot for the seniors, bring the seniors in. We do a poster shot, put our schedules on there. All right, so right here, before we go on dead week at the end of July, what we do is we ask the custodians at the school, what do you need help clean? They'll give me a list, and like how we have all those kids in a platoon, every platoon would do something on that list. Okay. So we just help the school out. So once they get into school, it's easy to say, hey, remember you had to clean that and you probably didn't appreciate it. Why don't you help keep our school clean? And then the other thing we do is to all the seniors, they will get a book before we leave for dead week to read over dead week. Because when we come back from dead week, you're going to see we got a book study with them. So in August, we have camp starting 2-a-days, just like everybody else. That's in the morning. If Monday's hard, Tuesday's going to be light. We're not going to kill them. All right. Kind of stole that kind of philosophy from Coach Saban. Not going to take credit for that. Probably the biggest argument and tough conversations we have is this platoon draft, because we're pretty much a 2-platoon team. Now, if a kid's a D1 kid, he's going to play both ways. I mean, let's be honest. But being able to be 2-platoon, that's what puts more kids on the field. Therefore, you get more kids out for football because let's be honest, the kids want to play. So it's been great for us. So like we tell kids all the time, we're going to start 22 kids. So it's been a good selling point for us. Talk about fall practice. Now, the evaluations I've had with the seniors in the offseason, I've told them all the things they need to improve on. Now they're going to meet with their position coach, and he gets to tell them what they think and what they need to improve on to have a chance to play. We have platoon meetings with our players during the camp week. And then our seniors, they have book study meetings. Like the book we read was the no complaining rule. So we go in there and we meet with them and go over a few chapters a day. But it's been great. The one we're doing this year is the hard hat. So different book every year throughout the program. So the seniors read one book, juniors read a book, sophomores read a different book. So it's good. And it's great team building again. Visit youth practices. We have a midnight scrimmage because here in Missouri, you have to go. You cannot hit until Saturday. Well, Friday night at 12:01, it's Saturday to me. So we have a midnight scrimmage. It's packed. Stadium's packed. Kids like being out late at night anyhow, so it's a big deal for us. Actually, what we do is we bring the Pop Warner teams in because they can hit before. We let them scrimmage from like 7 to whatever, so they'll have them staggered all the way up till we go at midnight. So the stadium's packed, games are going on all the way until like 1:30 in the morning. So it's a good deal. We have jamboree, team pictures, everybody, captain interviews. I do want to talk about that one in a minute. I know everybody does captains different. We do captain interviews just like you were going in to interview for a job. So they'd walk in and sit down with Michael and say, like, I'm interviewing for a teacher's job. And every coach on our varsity staff has a list of questions, just like an interview panel was, and they'd go around and ask. And these kids have to answer these questions. And we deduct points off of them for how do they sit? Do you sit up or do you slouch? And we tell them at the end, we said, we're now 2 made it. And we say, hey, if you didn't make captain, if you want to know why, please come ask, and we will tell you why. But it's been great for us with that because it holds the kids accountable and do those things. We do another community service project, meet with the captains and the leadership team, set our goals, quarterback clubs meetings going on, travel for the games, leadership council always, coaches cook out at my house. We'll bring all the coaches and wives over and just no kids because it's the one time away from the kids. But my wife works for a barbecue company. So we bring a lot of barbecue in, let the coaches and wives have fun. Because again, those wives need to know each other because they need to lean on each other. Because let's be honest, they sit in the stands on Friday nights and their husbands are the dumbest people on the earth. So those wives need to know each other and they need to have a nice relationship and lean on each other too. So that's a huge thing. The coaches cook out. Team bands. We do motto bands every year that the kids have to wear or get to wear. That's in the no complaining rule. You don't have to do anything. You get to do it. But they wear these around school. If they don't have them on, it's an automatic 25 push-ups, but it's got our motto on there. It's got the meaning of the motto underneath. But again, we do a walk right before we start the season. We lock hands and we say, this is the last time you can quit. After today, you cannot quit. And we'll walk across the field. And after they make that commitment walk, each coach will give his platoon their bands. Now, fellas, you're going to laugh when I tell you this. We've had kids try to quit before, and they were like, well, coach, blah, blah. And I look at them and go, no, you can't quit. The last day to quit was August whatever, and you didn't quit. Remember, that's why you got this band. And they'll look at you, and some of them would, some of them would just say, no, whatever, I'm done. But you'd be surprised at how many of them go, you're right. I made a commitment. I'm going to stick with it. And they turn around and leave your office. So another big thing for us. And then the other thing we do that I think is huge, we do decals and Dad's Day. So we'll have practice. After practice, we'll have a meeting to go over everything that you want to go over in your preseason meetings. And then we bring the dads. And this year we actually let the moms help. So we called it family decal. But we brought them down there. We give them. And then that way, you're not the one putting all those decals on. So the kids sat there with their dads. They put our eagle head on. They put our N on. They put the nose bumper. They put the sweatband. And they sit there and do that. And it's awesome. Because the last thing a dad wants is his kid and his decals and his helmet not looking right on game night. So he's going to make sure his kid's stuff looks good. So it's helped us out a lot with that. I've still got 10 minutes. I'm trying to move, coach. Power phase of the workout goes different because we're in season. We will test out at the end of regular season before we head into the playoffs. You got to always have your game practice scripts done. We would never walk on the field without a practice script. Again, those meetings are going on, visiting games, because again, I don't know how it is in Georgia, but up here, people try to steal your kids. So you better go see them and you better have your face out there where people can see you. Reading program at the elementary. This is huge. If you're a senior and you have you have good grades and you have upstanding character, we will check you out of school on Thursdays during athletic weight training, and you would go to one of the elementary schools and read, because every elementary school is trying to do what? They're trying to promote reading. What better way to do it than have an athlete sitting there with their jersey on reading to kids? And then it is so awesome because kids will make letters like thank you stuff and bring them to the kids at the games. And then we have certain elementary nights at the games, and those kids get to come. Big time program builder. Teacher of the week. I'm sure all of you do that. We have a teacher of the week every week, has pregame meals with us, is on the sideline. Team dinners on Thursday nights. That's always done different. We divide them up by groups. Didn't get to do it this year again. This year kind of stole a lot of stuff from us, but pregame meals, we don't let our kids leave. So we have pregame meals at the school on game day. If we're on the road, we're going to get something in them because we travel to Arkansas for our first game. That's a huge road trip. We're going to make sure to get something in them before we put them back on the bus. Just things that we do after school. We got movies for them. Another huge thing here, Mojo Night. So 36 seniors. It's their chance on Mojo Night. What we do is I have a container. It doesn't look like this, but it's our Mojo container that has the year and our record written on it. So they get to see what every team before them has done. Well, they get a block of wood. They write and out of the end of life, they put their strongest word, their weakest word, because we all need to know our weakness. And then they put their favorite moment of ever playing football in there. And then on the other side, they give one piece of advice to a younger player. So it's a bonfire going, it's a fire going. All the younger kids are sitting there, and the seniors, it's their chance to talk to the team. And they go through that. When they're done, they drop their block in there of wood in there, and they're kind of putting their ashes in the program. And that's one of the things they get at the banquet. I have a container that says Mojo, and it's the 2020 Mojo, and they know it's coming from all their teammates. But the first thing we do before we do it, we pour all the ashes back from the first years. So it's like, no matter where you go from here, your ashes, your brick will always be in this foundation of this program. And we pour it in there to start it every night. So it's a pretty special thing. You want to see 18-year-old boys cry? Heck, you want to see coaches cry? Have a Mojo Night. It's pretty emotional. Grade checks. We have a thing after the game where the same song plays. Well, when we came to this school, they didn't even have a stadium. So we were the first staff that got to have a stadium. So like we said, it was going to make they had always played on the road at a college here in town. So they got to be there. So it's going to make this place my home. So that thing plays, the songs play, and our kids go down. They high five all the people that came to the game. And then they come back over as a head coach. It gives you time, gives you about 5 minutes to get your thoughts on what you want to say anyhow. But it lets our kids be big time going over there doing that. And then it gets the fans involved. They really like it. Staff meetings, how do you handle that? How do you handle Saturdays and Sundays? That's a whole thing in itself. We come in on Saturdays, coordinators come in on Sundays. If you're not a coordinator, you get Sundays off. It's just part of being a coordinator. You got to meet with the head coach because I got to know what's going on. Family lunch, we do that where we've brought everybody's family up there on a Saturday because obviously wives sometimes are like, what are you doing at the office this long? So they need to see that you're actually working. The other thing that's huge for us, we have a Defeat All Cancer game. So what we do is we have a special uniform. It's the only time we wear this uniform is on the Defeat All Cancer game night. Is you have to say, hey, I'm Greg Jones. I'm playing for my Aunt Sita. She died of breast cancer. And so you have a sheet and you put that on there. So you know exactly who you're playing for. And we talk about the kids that you are honoring someone else. If it's someone that has lost their life, we honor them in the program. If it's someone that is battling cancer that is there, at halftime, they will bring them down and have them on the sideline and introduce them. At one game, we did it before the game where everybody walked out and stood beside the person they were playing. But impactful, very, very impactful. And it's like we're telling the kids that you're playing for something bigger than football on this night. So our kids really get into that. We've had Unfortunately, one of our coaches' kids have battled cancer, so he was an honorary captain. In Kearney, we had a little girl that went through. She was an honorary captain, so we've had some people be the honorary captain on that night also. And then we do the pink out. We tell our kids this is the designated pink out game because, again, I think kids sometimes lose the meaning of that. They just see people on NFL and college doing it. So it's like, how much pink can I wear? So it turns into a contest. So what we do is we have pink ends. We put the pink ends on the helmet. We give them all pink sweatbands. And then we tell them you can wear one other item. If it's gloves, it's gloves. If it's socks, it's socks. But you're not going out there pink head to toe. That's just the way we do it. So again, we try to do that and make those night specials too. Then last thing is November. Obviously, everybody's going to have a big senior night. Honor your seniors. Hopefully, you're going to be playing in state championship, booking hotel rooms. That stuff all looks different, and doing all these things here. But that's kind of what we do. And it's kind of, like I said, back around to at the very, very start. As head coaches, obviously, nobody's looking for pats on the back. But, you know, fellas, this offseason, you get into school at 6 and you're leaving at 6. You know, it's like we said at the beginning, it's just like farming. If you want to have a great program, you better be doing something every single day to build your program. Questions?
That was a lot of information, Coach.
Well, like I said, I tried to give it as fast as I can give it. I mean, if anybody's wanting anything more in detailed, you know, the one thing I will say, I'm pretty organized, like, you know, and I got stuff on all that. So if they want it, if they got questions on it, I think that's what coaches do. You know, we beg, borrow, and steal from each other to make everybody great. So,
yeah. To say you're organized is an understatement. One coach did ask if we were recording this because it was a lot of stuff. Yes, we're recording it. You'll get them just like the same way. If you've got the folder, it'll be in there. It might not be till tomorrow morning, but yes, you will have it. So you'll be able to go back through it, you know, slow it down and work at your own pace. So.
And I know that y'all do the things too, and I'm not, if you don't want to do it, whatever, but I know I have all that on a disc that if they really want it, they can contact me that I sell. Is that I have that on there, but then I actually have what we do in Leadership Council. I actually have the parents' meetings that we have. So it's everything that's on there. So I try to share as much information on that thing as I can.
I think that's good. That was awesome, Coach.
All righty.
Mm-hmm.
No other questions?
Say last chance. Anybody got a question?
It's getting towards the end of the week. Everybody's getting tired.
I know. That's what I said. Me too. So, but no, that was great, Coach. We appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you. And I was hoping we'd get down there to the clinic this year where I could visit with y'all again, but